When I was 10 and my brother was 12, we lost our mother. She had been sick for months, but nothing prepared us for the moment she closed her eyes and never opened them again. After the funeral, our father changed. He became quieter, sadder. And then, 1 year later, he brought another woman into our house. Her name was Clara. She was beautiful, younger than our mom, and she smiled a lot, but never at us. In the beginning, she tried to act like a mother. She cooked sometimes, bought new clothes for us, and even braided my hair. But all of that changed when she gave birth to her first daughter. And then her second. And then her third. Every time the child was born and it wasn't a boy, Clara grew angrier. She started blaming everything around her, bad luck, old house spirits, even the food she ate. But then one day, she turned to my brother and said something that changed everything. "You're the reason I can't have a son. You're a wizard." We thought it was a joke. My brother even laughed. But Clara didn't smile. She stared at him like he was a curse. She started calling him names behind his back, then in front of my father. And the worst part? My father began to believe her. He started avoiding my brother. Wouldn't let him touch the newborn. Stopped talking to him unless it was to scold. My brother cried alone in our room, and I would hold his hand and whisper, "Don't believe her. You're not bad. You're not cursed." But things got worse. Clara said we were both dark. That we brought sorrow into the house. She told neighbors we were the reason she wasn't happy. One day, our father slapped my brother across the face just because the baby tripped near him. "Your aura is bad," he said. "Stay away from them." We were no longer children in that house. We were intruders. But what Clara didn't know was, my brother had something she would never understand. And that was the beginning of everything. After that day, my brother stopped crying. He became quiet, like a shadow in the house. He stopped eating with us. He stopped playing. But in his silence, something in him was growing. He started reading books. Not school books, old ones. He would visit the library every day after school and bring home dusty books with strange titles. "You're wasting your time," I told him once. He just smiled a little and said, "No. I'm preparing." I didn't understand what he meant. Then, one evening, Clara started screaming from the bedroom. We ran in and saw her on the floor, holding her stomach. Her third daughter, barely 2 years old, was crying beside her. "She's cursed me," Clara screamed. "That boy, that wizard." My father turned to my brother with fire in his eyes. "What did you do to her?" he shouted. "I did nothing," my brother said calmly. "But maybe you should ask what she did to me." That night, for the first time, I saw fear in Clara's eyes. Not because she was hurt, but because she could no longer control the story. My brother wasn't weak anymore. He wasn't broken. Later that night, I found a box under his bed. Inside were candles, feathers, stones, and drawings. Symbols I didn't understand. I was scared. "What is all this?" I whispered. He looked at me, eyes calm and serious. "Protection," he said. "Not magic. Not evil. Just strength. Our mother left us with nothing, but I've found something inside me. But she'll tell Dad. He'll throw us out." "Let him," my brother said. "I'm not afraid anymore." And just like that, something changed. Clara became nervous whenever he entered the room. She stopped shouting. My father grew confused, he didn't know who to believe anymore. And the neighbors. They started whispering. Not about us, but about her. About how her words had gone too far. Then one day, something happened that no one expected. My father called us into the living room. His eyes were tired. "I took Clara to the doctor," he said. "There's nothing wrong with her. No curse. No bad luck. Just nature." He looked at my brother for a long time. "I was wrong," he whispered. "But I don't know how to fix this." My brother stood tall. Taller than I'd ever seen him. "You don't have to fix it," he said. "Just don't let it happen again." After that night, something changed in the air. Clara stopped pretending. She no longer smiled fake smiles or offered us food we wouldn't dare touch. She kept to her room most days, whispering on the phone or staring at the wall. The neighbors had turned cold toward her. Even some of her own friends avoided our compound. But that didn't stop her. One rainy evening, just as the power went out, Clara lit candles in the sitting room and called my father. She made him sit down and said, "I want them out. Both of them. Before something bad happens to your daughters." My father stayed silent. Then she turned to my brother and hissed, "You're not special. You're just a boy who reads too much and thinks he's powerful. But power belongs to those who know how to use fear." My brother stood up slowly, walked to the middle of the room, and lit a match. He dropped it into one of his small clay bowls filled with herbs. A soft smoke rose. Sweet, strange, comforting. "You think fear is power," he said calmly. "Then why are you the one shaking?" Clara blinked. Her hands trembled. And in the dancing candlelight, we all saw it, her fear wasn't just anger anymore. It was confusion. Guilt. Maybe even shame. "I'm not a wizard," my brother said, "but I'm not helpless anymore. You wanted us gone, but we are the roots of this house. Our mother built it with love, not lies. And I'm done pretending I don't belong here." My father said nothing. Not that night. Not even when Clara stormed out the next morning with her 3 daughters, saying she was going to stay with her sister until he chose between her and his cursed children. He still said nothing the day after that. But on the 3rd day, he cooked rice for us. For the first time in years. And he said softly, "I don't know how to be a father again. But I'd like to try." My brother didn't smile. He just nodded. That was enough. Weeks passed. Clara didn't return. Some said she left town. Some said she stayed, but was too embarrassed to come back. Her daughters stayed with their aunt. And our home became quiet again, peaceful, even. One afternoon, my brother called me into the backyard. "Dig here," he said, handing me a small shovel. "I want to bury the past." We dug. And in that hole, he placed the old box, candles, feathers, symbols, everything. He poured water over it and whispered something I couldn't hear. Then he smiled. "I'm not a wizard," he said again. "But I've learned something stronger than magic." "What?" "Knowing who you are, even when the world tries to lie about you." Months passed. Peace became our new normal. My father slowly began to repair his bond with us. He still carried guilt in his eyes, but he listened more, talked more, even laughed sometimes. My brother and I went back to school with clearer minds. We started to feel safe. But peace is never permanent when the past hasn't truly let go. One Saturday morning, just after breakfast, a car pulled up in front of our gate. I saw the curtain shift. My brother was already watching. "It's her," he said. Clara stepped out, dressed in all black, her hair tied neatly, her face expressionless. But this time, she wasn't alone. A tall man stepped out beside her, well-dressed, proud-looking. Behind them were her 3 daughters. They looked thinner, quieter. My father opened the door before she could knock. He didn't greet her. I only came to talk, Clara said. This time, no shouting. I'm listening, my father replied. We all gathered in the living room, but Clara didn't sit. She stood near the door like she was ready to run. Her new man remained outside, arms folded like a guard. I'm leaving town, she said. He's taking me and the girls abroad. But I want my daughters to know their roots. I want them to remember you as their father. And what do you want from us? My father asked. Clara glanced at my brother, then me. Her lips tightened. I want forgiveness. For what I said. For how I treated them. My brother looked at her for a long time. I could feel his heart racing, even though he looked calm, I knew the storm was inside him. Finally, he said, I can't give you peace for what you did. But I can let you leave without carrying more hate. Clara's eyes watered, just a little. She nodded once. Thank you. She turned to go, but her oldest daughter, just 7, ran back and hugged my father's leg. Can we come visit someday? She whispered. He knelt and hugged her back. This is always your home. And just like that, they left. We stood at the window and watched the car disappear. My father put a hand on my brother's shoulder and said, You didn't let her break you. I see that now. But my brother just smiled faintly. She didn't build me. So she couldn't break me. That evening, my brother sat with his books again. Not the dusty ones anymore, but new ones. Science. Philosophy. Medicine. I want to help children who are called cursed, he told me. I want to be a voice for the ones who stay silent. And I knew, our story wasn't just about pain anymore. It was becoming something bigger. 3 years later, my brother was 16. He had become something like a legend at school. Not because he was loud or popular, but because of how he carried himself, quiet but firm, kind but unshakable. Teachers respected him. Students came to him for advice, especially the ones who were being bullied or left out. People said, There's something strong about that boy. And they were right. One day, after school, a girl named Ada came to our house. She was from my brother's class. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her clothes dusty. My uncle says I'm cursed, she whispered. He says I'm the reason his wife can't get pregnant. He locked me in the store for 3 days. My brother let her sit down. He brought her water. Then he said, You're not cursed. You're being blamed for something that isn't your fault. But everyone believes him, she said. Even my own cousins. My brother looked at me, then at our father, who stood listening from the doorway. We need to do something, he said. That night, my brother and I followed Ada back to her home. He knocked on the door with boldness, like he wasn't afraid of what was inside. Her uncle opened it, surprised. What do you want? The man barked. To return something that isn't yours, my brother said. Fear. The man laughed. You again. The boy who thinks he has powers. My brother stepped forward. I don't need powers to know abuse when I see it. You locked up a child. You beat her. You lied to protect your pride. You want me to call the police, the man growled. I want you to call your conscience, my brother said. The man raised his hand, as if to strike, but froze. My brother didn't move. Something in his calm stare made the man lower his hand slowly. I'll take her, my brother said. She stays with us now. Unless you want this whole street to know how you treat children. The man didn't speak. He just stepped aside. Ada followed us home that night. She slept in the room with me. The next morning, we went to the local council office. My father stood by us. We told the truth. And Ada never went back to that house again. That moment was when I knew my brother wasn't just strong, he was becoming someone who made others strong too. One day, he sat with me and said, "I used to wish Clara never entered our lives. But now I see, her cruelty made me find my voice." "What are you going to do next?" I asked. He looked up at the sky, eyes full of quiet fire. "I am going to build a place where no child is ever called cursed again." 10 years later, my brother stood on a small wooden stage under a mango tree. The sun filtered through the branches, casting warm gold across a simple sign that read, "House of Light, a home for children called cursed." Around him sat children. Some were orphans. Some had been accused of being evil, unlucky, or haunted, just like we had once been. But here, they laughed. They read books. They danced. They healed. Behind the children sat men and women from the town, people who once believed in fear and shame, now leaning in to listen. And in the front row sat our father. Older now, quieter, but proud. I sat beside him. And to our right, surprisingly, sat Clara's oldest daughter, now a teenager, head bowed respectfully. When my brother stepped forward to speak, he didn't raise his voice. He didn't shout. He just spoke with calm strength, like he always did. "I was once called a wizard," he said. "I was blamed for things I didn't do. Not because I was dangerous, but because I was different. Because I was in the way." He paused, looking out at the crowd. "But I learned something. You don't have to carry the names people throw at you. You can lay them down, step over them, and keep walking." A hush fell over the place. "This house," he said, gesturing behind him, "is not built with bricks alone. It's built with stories, stories of pain turned into power. Shame turned into courage. Silence turned into voice." He looked down at a little girl in the front row and smiled gently. "You are not cursed," he said. "You are chosen to survive, to grow, to shine." And at that moment, under the mango tree, surrounded by children once called names too heavy for their age, my brother did something no one had ever done for us. He gave them a place where their names meant hope. And in that moment, I knew. The boy they called a wizard had become something far greater. He had become a healer of wounds he never caused. A protector of spirits once crushed. A voice for the unbroken,